Firstly, thanks to Voice for Children for this opportunity to say why we should vote yes on October the 15th in the referendum on the constables. It's nice to be able to engage on different platforms, and this is something to be heralded, and I hope that other opportunities are given in different avenues. For a more eloquent and detailed reason on why I should vote yes, I'd ask you to visit www.vote.je, where a written manifesto and a video from our chairman, Steve Pallett, is available to be viewed. I would also, if you have time, ask you to visit our Twitter page and our Facebook page, which can be found under Vote for Yes Jersey, as well as visiting our website, which is voteyescampaign.weebly.com. Now, there are 4 stools on which we set out our platform for why Islanders should vote yes on October the 15th. These are efficiency, community, accountability and reform. And I'd like to offer a little bit about each point, and hopefully through that you'll be able to see why I believe it's in our interest to vote yes on October the 15th. So if we take the first one, efficiency. The states are currently facing, over the next few years, a reduction in income forecasts. I believe it totals something around 95 million. Now, to be able to deliver these efficiencies and meet targets to reduce this gap, we're going to have to be efficient. And I believe one of the best ways we can do this is by keeping the constables in the states. Let's, of course, remember that the constables are a very efficient body. The parish system itself, I believe the rate system has remained steady for 10 years. They deliver services to our community which would otherwise be at an exorbitant cost, administered centrally. And I would like to see this continue. I believe that if a no vote prevailed and that if the constables were removed from the States Assembly, they would be disconnected from the political system of the island. I believe that politicians would be inclined to ignore them, and I believe that states officers would ignore them. I think that this would be at the detriment and eventually the erosion of parishes, and I would cite Guernsey as an example of this. Moving on to community. I feel that through organisations such as the parish hall, the parish secretary, the constable itself, and the various organisations which have arisen and harness the potential amongst our community, I believe that the constable is able to engage with them. He's able to speak to them, listen to their interests, and through galvanising what they have to say, he's able to take this forward and bring it to the States. I believe that if the deputy was, some have argued that the deputy could fulfil this role if the constable was removed. I would argue that this infrastructure is simply not available to the deputy. He's elected on his political prejudices, and he simply cannot have the same voice that the constable has and the same access to the people. Further, if we were to move to a political party system, then there could be a conflict. If a deputy was a member of a political party and supported a proposition for, let's say, X reason, and the parishioners and the parish infrastructure said, we are not in favour of this proposition for Y reason, then what's the deputy going to do? There's a conflict. And for this reason, I suggest that actually it's in our community interest for the constable to remain in the States. The third limb of the 4 stools which I put before you was accountability. The constable, through mechanisms such as the requête and through the parish assembly and the rates meeting, is continually accountable to his electors. He is the only politician to be accountable for this period. The other politicians, the senators, the deputies, they can only be held to account at the ballot box. The constable is not in this case. If you want something doing, you can push the constable hard enough and it'll get done. If not, the constable will be in for a shock, be it at a requête or at an election. We've seen this, for examples, in my own parish in St Brellard's, where the previous constable, Mike Jackson, was removed because the parishioners felt that he wasn't doing a sufficient job. I feel that this is the only parish office which offers this level of accountability, and at a time of such dissatisfaction, figures such as 75% not being satisfied with our government or our legislature, I'm not sure which one, but at a time where there is such high levels of dissatisfaction, we need this level of accountability to remain in our assembly. My final platform, which I've used, is reform, and this has been criticised to some extent. I would state, for the record, that the constables were the ones to make the move towards a single election day. They were the ones to make the move towards a 4-year election cycle. They were the ones who all moved for the constables to be elected on the same day, which I've already mentioned. And it's this reforming body who are actually the ones moving forward with things, and it's the deputies which seem to be resistant to change. I think it was only 7 out of 29 deputies which supported the last proposition for electoral reform. And if we want reformers, if we want people to take things forward who are not afraid to listen to the public, for the reasons which I've mentioned, in that the constables are closer to the electorate than other members, then we need to support the constables. By voting yes, we can have a building block, we can move forward, and we can secure reform. The past is the past and we shouldn't dwell on it, but by securing a yes vote, then we'll be able to form, as I say, a building block, something to build on, move forward as a community together and decide what's best. I don't want to see an independent commission coming in again, and I don't want to see another electoral commission, but we need to move forward as a group. For these reasons, I would ask you to vote yes on Wednesday the 15th of October. If you agree with me, please get in touch, and if not, I would still like to hear your thoughts. You can access us via our Twitter accounts, or on Monday, I'm not sure of the date, this Monday coming, there is a referendum at the Town Hall, and it would be great to hear you and hear your thoughts. Thank you.